And we are live. This is Travis from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the forex market. This is a Thursday episode, and the last episode that we're going to end up having this week of Trade with Travis. Hopefully, everybody end up doing very good on GDP day. Um, as we end up going through and taking a look at everything, I'm going to go to the disclaimer, and then after that, obviously, we will go through all of the results of everything that ended up happening today. Anything that we need to be able to change, all of that stuff will end up being inside of today's session. So, um, give me one quick second. I just want to make sure that everyone can be able to receive the link. And then after that, we will basically go from there. Let's see. There it is right there. I have that set up in the Discord group so you can be able to see the message. But here we go. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So with that being said, what I'm going to end up doing here at this particular point is that I'm going to ask you, how well did you end up doing today? Hopefully everybody ended up doing well today when it came down to that trading. Please make sure that you end up typing in if you end up having a green day or a red day. As we go through, I'm going to end up writing in what I end up having. End up having a very good green day. Um, and basically another green week, which is always good. Um, and being able to put everything in perspective when it comes down to that. Okay, I'm not getting the man. We got to do this all over again. So what did I do? What did I do this time to be able to make it work? All right. So my chat is not showing up like it did yet, like it did this morning. Um, but we end up going from there. What's going on, Steve? It was a red day. Talk about the pairs that you end up struggling on, Steve. Write that in. What's going on, Block? Block, green day or red day? Talk to me. How you do? While y'all go through that, um, heck, this is I don't know. Um, I put it like this: like once we get down to like Thursday and it's the last episode of the week, it'd be like, okay, I am just ready to go. I literally woke up today. I mean, not woke up today, but I literally about in the middle of the day, and I was basically a wreck. I was like, man, I'm ready to go to bed. So I literally went to. I got to the house and caught myself taking a power nap. That power nap ended up being about 3 hours, so felt pretty good, and allowed me to be able to at least be able to rest my eyes a little bit. I think I'm going to be down for. Pretty sure I'm going to be down for the rest of the night once I end up getting everything else situated around here. I'm pretty much done with everything at this point. Uh, Aside from being able to finish up the stuff in my garage, I think I might end up burn the midnight oil on that one. Make sure I can be able to get that done. But overall, pretty good sleep. That allowed me to be able to do what I need to do. What's going on, Brian? Brian ended up having a green day. Block ended up having a green day. There we go. There we go. Did y'all get into U.S. yen again on these sales? Did y'all get into U.S. yen again on the sales? I did not post that one. We posted that one in the morning session, but I did not post it on the page. Uh, want to be able to know if y'all end up doing that. Um, and that'll kind of lead me into obviously let's go ahead and get to the big three. A matter of fact, forget about all that. Let's go ahead and go into the pairs that we ended up talking about. What the expectation was. We'll go from there, and then after that, have a push and have a thought process on what ended up happening. So, economic calendar, GDP ended up coming out. The results from that was as follows. Um, we end up having we end up having durable goods be zero point 0.4. It'll actually end up being negative. We end up having GDP actually end up being positive with 2.6. Um, and also we end up having non-defense capital goods be 0.7 and 4.0. the day was pretty much negative for the move, but the United States dollar actually ended up having a better day overall when it came down to most pairs. Now, the question would be, well, why would that technically happen? The reason why it would technically happen is because you just go based off the technicals. The market wasn't ready to continue being able to make a move. The market needed a little bit of a retracement before being able to make a movement to the upside or to the downside, or continue making the movement of overall retracement. So as I stated this morning, we'll start off with the U.S. base pairs, and we'll kind of go and move backwards when it comes down to that. Um, is worth looking at now. We're talking about U.S. yen. Remember, U.S. yen from an economic standpoint at 11 o'clock is going to end up having their high. It's going to end up having their uh, interest rate decision. Now, yes, it'll be worth looking at it from that standpoint, because the question is how much of a high price we're going to end up getting, or if you should go ahead and look at being able to take profit. And I'm going to explain what I end up doing. Uh, I wasn't as active today when it came down to everything inside of the Discord, and I do apologize about that. We were kind of swamped. This is the last day that we end up having for us grading papers uh, today in class. So I wanted to make sure that I could be able to get all that stuff done, because all that stuff is due tomorrow. So, but I end up exiting the trades, or exiting some of the trades. I kept my larger trades still in. But the mid-tier trades, I end up getting out of them. I'll look for another position when it comes down to that. Eurozone. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. We jump right into that. Market was in consolidation. From there, market ended up popping up. When we looked at it earlier this morning, the pair was uh, looking. Jeez, come on, I need to move it. Okay, looking at it this morning, we ended up seeing that the pair was up there. We seen that it was up in the sell zone. I did expect that the market was going to end up having a little bit of a fall. It didn't matter about what the actual movement was. I still expected that the market was going to end up going down to 99.10 before being able to make a move, before being able to get back in. So I wasn't necessarily looking at being able to jump in until the market actually ended up making that move. Now we look at it from a 2 hour perspective. The 2 hour is in the buy zone. We're getting close to being able to see if this market is ready to be able to break up from a counter trend line break perspective. And then after that, we can start being able to truly consider if we want to get in or not. Now, obviously, I would like the market to be able to have a full breakout and a full retracement down at this overall zone at 99.10 before being able to jump in. Now, if it pops up and it does break this counter trend line break, then beggars can be choosers. Obviously, you got to make the move to be able to get in. But at this particular point, there's nothing to be able to do until the market ends up breaking the counter trend line break. Once it does, three take profit positions that I'll be looking for. The first one will end up being the extension will be at 1.0144. The second position will end up being the top of this major resistance, not major, the top of that consolidated resistance, which was at 1.0280. And then after that, from that next standpoint, we'll start looking at what's happening from a daily perspective for us overall retracement. The 382 is right around that. The 382 for that retracement, or that R5 trade is at 103.20, 103.27. That will end up being take profit 3. But I need to see the market start to make a little bit of a retracement. The only thing that I do not like about the buy trades right now, and more the reason why I would probably end up saying that I may end up just canceling or not even thinking about being able to get into a Euro United States dollar trade, is that the market is in the sell zone on the daily. Um, because the market is in the sell zone on the daily, it makes it kind of hard to be able to say, hey, I want to get into this pair, and knowing that some of the momentum will be away from me, and not necessarily getting a big push with everybody else. Typing a wire, yes, if that makes sense. When it comes down to getting into Euro United States dollar, I'm going to pass on it for right now. US yen, talked about this yesterday. We know that the weekly hit the extension. We know that the daily went all the way up to the 127, where the market only retraced to the 23.6 and moved all the way up to the 127. I really didn't feel like we had a great move or a great thought process for being able to get in the movement, or being able to stay in on this movement if the market was going to end up making or having a continuation type of move. I felt very I felt very strong in my conviction that if this market did not truly retest this overall low, kind of like what ended up happening, having this indecision candlestick basically rule today, that we could possibly see that there's going to be a strong move to the upside on the yen when it comes down to that pair. Now, I'm in at 148.13, but at the same time, I don't want to just give away. I don't want to just give away profit. And when I'm saying give away profit, that means holding in for another day just to be able to see if the market's going to end up making a move. Now, keep in mind, um, 11 o'clock is going to end up being very important to how the market's going to end up being portrayed over the course of the next few weeks, over the course of the next few weeks, the next few months. From a consensus standpoint, still as a consensus that it's expected to be at zero point 0.1. And if that is going to end up being the case, then that's not going to end up being a great type of news overall for this pair to continue being bullish on Japanese yen, or at least being in retracement form. So here is the retracement move, and let's see what the D extension is. The extension on this one's at 142.61 as it's constructed right now. Market ended up having a solid retracement to the 382 when it happened. At this particular point, the market has rejected off of the 118, and it is below the B. Well, now it's basically above the B at this particular point, which means that if we have any good news, this will probably be the last time that the market will end up remaining to be above the B before truly starting to fall. Now, we had good catalysts when it came down to the news for the United States dollar overall, but are we going to end up getting even better news from the Japanese yen? That's the one thing that I do need to know if I'm going to end up staying in. Now, earlier today, ended up taking trades at two different positions on the U.S. yen. That was oh, well, shoot, I'll show y'all. Let's see. I'll be. Let's see. I ended up taking two moves off of this one. It was right here. Ended up catching 147.78 and 146.43. Ended up catching for 231 and 53 respectively. With a stop loss of 170. As the market has basically been pushing back up, it doesn't seem like those short-term moves are going to end up holding. So end up just taking profit on those movements overall. We'll see how everything kind of plays out as we go from there. And overall, it's been okay. We'll see how everything kind of plays out on that one. Right now, there's nothing to be able to do until 11 o'clock, obviously. Let's see. Okay, going to the United States dollar index. Now, matter of fact, let's take a look at Bitcoin. This Bitcoin move is going to end up disturbing me because what it's truly going to mean is that the United States dollar is going to end up just being, this might just be a retracement move, and now the dollar may get back to be stronger. And if the dollar is going to get back to be stronger overall, then it doesn't really matter about what's happening with the interest rate decision on the Japanese yen, because it just means that maybe it just might be just a slight retracement. And if that is the case, then I need to exit off of U.S. yen. Someone worried about right now. This overall, me just talking out loud. But so let's go back to what ended up happening. We got in off the crossover. Got in off the triangle to this movement. Got out at 20,350. There was another triangle movement. Did not get into the market. Ended up pushing all the way up to 21,000. Our thought process was that there was another triangle. If it broke out to the upside, we're going to end up getting out at 22,000 something, 22,750. But we truly didn't have a retest of this overall long-term consolidation that was happening based off of the hourly, which is basically this whole yellow area right here. Market broke out and then retested back inside. Currently, right now, the market is in the buy zone, which means that If it breaks above 20,350, then that means that the market may be ready. The last few candlesticks are promising because there's an indecision candlestick on two of the last three, which means that there could be a chance that the market could just be looking to be able to break out and fully be able to go. Keep that in mind as the market is still flowing. If it does break above, then we might have a chance of being able to make a move to the upside off of that. Until then, it's really nothing to be able to do overall when it comes down to that. But I do like the indecision candlestick more than anything else. I will say that from a weekly perspective, the market still has enough room to be able to make a move. From a daily perspective, the market still has enough room before it's considered to be truly bearish off of this movement. I'm going to erase these arrows because these arrows are kind of working me right now. But keep in mind, if the United States dollar index is going to end up getting stronger um, overall, then this market is going to end up breaking back down inside of this gold area. And if that's going to end up being the case, then that means that there's really no reason of being able to hold on to another Bitcoin trade until the market gets back either back into the support or the middle of that movement at 19,651. Um, Block your algos. Are you going to keep them on or off? Are you going to keep them on or off right here? Curious. I'm thinking it's going to be the consolidation range until FOMC. I turned the grid box on early. Yeah, it makes sense. Heck, if it's going to remain to be like that and it goes back inside of that consolidation, there's no reason to sit up there and get away from it. Um, I had a buddy of mine end up throwing me some old grid code some old grid code, and he said, "Hey, if I can be able to manipulate it, I can be able to have it." I'm still in the midst of being able to understand what I want to do with that. Um, with the Skywalker EA, like I said, I'm still waiting on my guy to be able to get in touch with me about the license to be able to get that placed on. But it has grid functions on that one as well. Um, from an overall standpoint of how it enters and exits. Um, Matter of fact, it'd be a good. I want let me show. I'm going to show you a quick test, and I want you to tell me what you think. Let's do that real quick because I don't think there's like no pressing trade to be able to take. Um, I'm talking mainly to people that are in the elite and people that may be interested in being able to get into the elite. I want to talk about this real quick, and it'll kind of make it a little bit easier for me to be able to figure out what's probably going to end up being the best overall thought process in being able to do this. Let's see, save. I don't need to save. I just need to. Okay. So just gonna play this real quick. And and the reason why I'm saying this more than anything else, Block, I'm talking about this from a grid perspective. Just watch how it is. Watch out in partial exit mode. How it starts being able to take exits once it's in a certain profit range. I go through it like real quick, but it has a grid function to it. The way that it's exiting trades. So instead of being like just a regular grid trader, essentially what it's doing is once it ends up hitting a certain profit, then after that it makes or starts being able to push or not push, but start being able to get into a grid mode type of movement or grid behavior type of deal, which allows you to be able to be able to squeeze the most profit out without being able to say, "Hey, well, the market's getting away from me. This is what I need to truly be able to do." Like if you notice, essentially what happens is that as soon as it ends up, in this case, as soon as it gets up 100 pips, it ends up moving the stop loss to 97 pips, which means that you're guaranteeing yourself at least three pips for its overall gain. But each and every hour, if it's not showing that it's making a new higher low between that overall time frame, then it's taking profit very quickly as the market is basically going on from now. So I'm excited about that. It's done shown a lot of great results, even on the first trade um, of last week. Last week it ended up making a 10% or a 13% move. Uh, and currently right now, I'm just trying to see how this thing kind of plays out because it's working off the hour. Sometimes the trades may be few and far in between, but if it does go right, then obviously you get the move from there. I'm going to stop this so we can go ahead and get back into. Well, let me show one short trade because I think it'll at least be nice to be a short. Let's see, it's a short trade. Let's see. I think this one is a loss. Yeah. Essentially, as soon as it ends up getting an exit signal or a crossover signal going the opposite way, it closes out on the other trade. That's an option that it has on it as well. But let's see, let it finish up on this one. But because of that, obviously, it can end up being very accurate when it comes down to overall movements as well. Like a trailing grid, yes, in that mode. In the full exit mode, it just goes off and the exit based off of the take us in. So that blue and red line, that crossover, once it's in a profit, it'll end up closing off based off of that. So it's it has the behavior of a grid system, but with a swing trader's mentality, based off of a breakout of the Ichimoku cloud. So obviously, that's the thing that I end up saying that everybody will end up getting or being able to get their hands on. Obviously, once they end up getting into the elite and being able to go from there. The only thing that's holding me up is being able to make sure that y'all can be able to have y'all license. And my guy that typically does it, he's in Germany right now, and he typically, as soon as I end up messaging him, he typically does a good job of being able to get to me. But evidently, he's working on a project as well right now. Matter of fact, while I'm talking, I will send him a message. Let's see. Because if he's free, I go ahead and stay up a little bit more time to be able to do something with that. Let's see. All right, so United States dollar index. I'm going to speed up a little bit. United States dollar index. Kind of what I kind of feared earlier this morning. It seems like this might be starting to happen. Um, what does that mean? And as soon as I end up messaging him, he gets back, which is always cool. I don't know what that means though. I gotta convert that. Can we start in 10 minutes? All right, so United States dollar index market has proven right here that 13,300 may end up being a natural support, and if that's going to end up being the case, um, good. Okay, if he can start in 10 minutes, everybody, y'all have it within the next hour. Um, People on the leave. If he can get it done within 10 minutes, you could be able to get it. If he starts in 10 minutes, y'all can get it within the next hour, and it'll be in the group within the next hour when it comes down to that, which is great. Um, the It's for I have it set up for MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5. So obviously you can pick which one that you end up using based off your terminal. Um, but what I mean by what is kind of bothering me is that when we end up taking a look at this the last time, I end up saying, okay, well, this market is basically find support at 13,300. Is the market going to end up truly being able to break once news ends up coming out? And that wasn't the case. Market actually ended up popping up. And if that is going to end up being the case, then we're going to look at possibly seeing a larger consolidation block overall. Now, I will truly know if the market is going to end up being bullish if the market breaks above 13,360. And then after that, we know on being in a larger consolidation if the market breaks above 13,360. If that is the case, then that means that most U.S. based pairs that I'm in, aside from oil, I'm going to end up remaining to stay out of those overall pairs. Currently, right now, I am kind of in the same phase. That's the reason why Euro, United States dollar, I said I was passing US yen. I ended up taking partial profit on some of those. So that's the reason why I end up looking at being able to pass on most of those pairs, just primarily because of that reason, and being able to see that. So that may end up kind of throwing a wrench into what we're going to end up doing until we truly know what's going to happen with this overall movement overall. U.S. oil end up getting into, and while I'm thinking about a block, can you see me that Can you see me that information about voice meter? Something about potato. I remember we ended up talking about something with potato. Uh, so, well, oil, what ended up happening was this market ended up giving us a second trade to possibly be able to enter. And since then, the market has been showing a little bit of a U-turn based off of that. So it's kind of eating into the profits. The question is, should we look at being able to take? Should we look at being able to take profit right here and look at being able to get back in a little bit later on? Um, from a hourly standpoint, the market has not, or the market is basically at support, but it looks like it's breaking inside of this area again. And if that's going to end up being the case, then I may consider looking at being able to exit partially. But obviously, our entry was at 8,600. Appreciate it. I'll take a look at that as soon as I end up getting to it. Um, we end up getting in at 8,600. Currently, right now, the market is at 88. My thing is, I hope that the market just doesn't have like a full retracement and then try to be able to retest that 86 area. Obviously, we're looking at being able to stay in this trade for a longer term position. So we have to allow it to be able to swing a little bit, but I don't want to just dang on this. Um, Obviously, give up full take profit. I mean full positions if the market is going to end up turning around and falling like it is. So for anyone that's interested in being able to get in on this pair from a daily perspective, the market is still somewhat bullish, which means I'm okay with the overall movement of it. The Canadian dollar ended up having their interest rate decision actually end up being somewhat, what was it, negative? Yeah. Interest rate decision ended up being 3.75. So they ended up raising the interest rate a little bit, but they didn't raise it as much. Um, so it is something to pay attention to. I think this is more slightly just more of a retrace than it is a full movement for us being able to get out. And because of that, I am going to stay in. But that second position that I ended up getting into earlier today, I ended up exiting. Where did I get out on that one? Um, or matter of fact, I know what happened. I placed in an order and it never triggered me in. Yeah, I placed in an order, but it never triggered me in. I placed in a buy limit instead of a buy stop, and because of that, it never placed me in at 88. I remember that this and what ended up happening. It just never placed me in. So um, no worries when it comes down to that. If you got in the oil and you end up getting out right around that 90 area, in which we end up talking about, congratulations when it came down to that one. Just wait to see how this move is going to end up going from there. Um, looks interesting. Glad that you found a solid coder. I mean, I didn't find a lot of great coders. The problem is sometimes the language barrier, and then more than anything else, um, everybody's working on something else. Everybody has some other project that they're doing, so it's not like I can be able to have one person that does everything. There's certain things that I know how to do. I know how to read code more than being able to write it. Um, but um, we'll see how everything kind of plays out. Um, the third iteration of that code that you're looking at, obviously, would be being able to have both of those modes be able to run at the same time. So that partial exit mode and the full exit mode, um, what it would do is it'll split the percentage of what risk you're going to end up taking on that trade. So let's say we're going to have a 2% risk on the next trade, then um, and as soon as I say that, he sends me a message. Hey man, y'all doing good. Y'all bringing good vibes. uh, let's see. The guy that ended up updating the Skywalker code this sent me a message. Uh, let's see, um, let's see. Give me 1 second, everybody. Okay. Currently right now, move will end up being this. Wait for the market to be able to get into the buy zone. Hopefully, it can be able to hold above 88.50. Market breaks the counter trend line break. Look to be able to add in again. Make sure you have stop loss below 87.15 on that second trade. Um, and we'll end up going from there. Okay, cool. So, all right. So nothing to be able to do on that one. I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna go with US 30, and we'll talk about Nas 100. And I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Um, and start making sure that this code is ready to go, so everybody can be able to receive it. Um, Dow Jones ended up catching a buy when the market was at 32.50. We ended up talking about that one earlier. When the market ended up pushing up, I expected that the market could get all the way up to 32,650. Ended up riding out this move a couple of times to the upside. Market ended up pushing up to 32,300. I think I ended up getting out at 32,150. But that ended up happening yesterday. I did not take a trade today. There's a counter trend line break that is happening based off of this movement right now. My only hesitation is that the market is in the sell zone at this particular point on the daily. And because it is on the sell zone on the daily, this market is probably going to end up having a little bit of a drop. You're not gonna end up having um, we're probably not gonna end up having this market just keep on moving up. Now it's good to see that the market has had one, two, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 10 out of 12 green days. But kind of like what I end up seeing with the United States dollar index, we probably might end up seeing that this may be the start of the market starting a little bit, having a little bit of a U-turn. And if this is going to be a long-term consolidation movement, then the market has to fall a little bit more before being able to push back up. So there's really no movement off of this one yet. Um, and currently at this point, I would say that will be the thing that I need to wait on um, before being able to jump in. So US 30, no move on that one as of yet. Not gonna end up thinking about trying to trade that one as of yet. We'll wait and kind of see what's going on with that. NAS 100, which will be the last pair that we'll talk about today. Uh, NAS 100 is showing that the market has a counter trend line break to the downside, and it rejected off of this inner trend line, which means that there should be some continuation of movement to the downside. And if that's going to end up being the case, then that will kind of yield to my thought process of what I thought that why US 30 is probably a sell thought process more than a buy process at this particular point as well. Now, keep this in mind: if the United States dollar gets stronger, then that means that the indexes get weaker. We take a look at what's happening with mainly most of the indexes. We looked at um, Apple end up having bad numbers. We end up seeing Microsoft end up having bad numbers for its like their um, earnings numbers and everything else like that. And most groups have had bad earnings numbers, so it doesn't surprise me once again that the market may end up falling. So getting out of the buy trades and expecting that the market is going to keep on going up expecting that the market is going to keep on going up, then it doesn't make any sense to be able to do that. I do expect that the market is probably going to end up pushing more to the downside overall. Um, let's see. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the 15 minute, or look at the hour, then take a look at the 15 minute, then it kind of make a little bit more sense. Market has fell back to this consolidation low right here and then pop right back up. Um, with that being said, it made a double top, and because it made a double top at this particular point, this position is not consolidation anymore. We had our free run area that actually ended up being pushed up right here, and from there officially, now we can say that here's our large consolidation block that we have to be able to pay attention to. So I'm not saying that the market's going to fall. I'm not saying that the market's going to end up pushing up. I'm saying that the market is now in a consolidation area, and that means that we need to stay away from it, at least for right now. As the market kind of goes into tomorrow, and if it stays around this range, then that means that we can start building out our orders. That means that we take a look at our orders overall, which position will probably end up being a better decision. The high volume node will kind of end up telling you that it's either way at this point, um, which is actually a good thing. That means that if the market breaks below 10,960, then we can see the market start to be able to go towards the 10,700 and the 10,400, and then possibly all the way down to the 9711 position, which was the extension. Or if the market starts to push up, then we can see that the market could go up to the 12,000, um, could go back up to 12,160, and then after that, further beyond. But because, or all the way up to that 12,500 area. Um, until then, that will be something we have to be able to pay attention to. But our orders should not be placed in until we see that this market is showing that we're in consolidation overall. Um, but that kind of leads us to being able to say there's nothing to be able to do. So in general, what's happening is very simple. United States dollar is kind of holding what's happening with the market. Obviously, the Japanese yen is going to end up having their movement. Japanese yen is going to end up having an interest rate decision, which will end up affecting what's the movement is going to be overall on that pair. So I do want to see what that's going to be like. I think I might end up taking partial profit on oil. I'm going to keep U.S. yen. I think I'm going to keep as well. I just hope that we just don't have no huge pop up on U.S. yen. That would be the only heartbreaking thing that I probably might end up saying that may end up being the case. I'm going to go ahead and call it from here. You like what we end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button and being able to support the brand and everything else that we have going on. Obviously, if you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about what we end up doing from a trading perspective for our overall community, please make sure that you end up sending me a private message, and I'll send you a link to what we do with our community Discord, and being able to go from there. And like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade and trading your plan. I see each and every one of y'all on Monday for the elite group. I see y'all on Sunday as we go through and um, get ready for November 1st. People that are interested in being able to hop in on being able to take a practice or being able to go through the prop firm challenges with us, please make sure that you end up sending me messages as well when it comes down to that. Uh, I'm thinking about going through Surge Trader first and really kind of setting that stuff up. We'll have a dedicated area inside the members only area of the Discord for that. So just let me know and we'll go from there. Like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. Remember, like always, you control your own luck. So you got to sit up there and be a risk taker. Take it easy.